لهم تبديلا إن هذه تذكرة فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه سبيلا وما تشاءون إلا أن يشاء الله إن الله كان عليما حكيما يدخل من يشاء في رحمته والظالمين أعد لهم عذابا أليما بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والمرسلات عرفا فالعاصفات عصفا والناشرات نشرا فالفارقات فرقا فالملقيات ذكرا عذرا أو نذرا إنما توعدون لواقع فإذا النجوم طمست وإذا السماء فرجت وإذا الجبال نسفت وإذا الرسل أقتت لأي يوم أجلت ليوم الفصل وما أدراك ما يوم الفصل ويل يومئذ للمكذبين ألم يهلك الأولين ثم نتبعهم الآخرين كذلك نفعل بالمجرمين ويل يومئذ للمكذبين ألم نخلقكم من ماء مهين فجعلناه في قرار مكين إلى قدر معلوم فقدرنا فنعم القادرون ويل يومئذ للمكذبين ألم نجعل الأرض كفاتا أحياء وأمواتا وجعلنا فيها رواسي شامخات وأسقيناكم ماء فراتا صدق الله العلي العظيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر ولله الحمد. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن عليًا ولي الله أشهد أن عليًا حجة الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد نبيه وآله وسلم.
الحمد لله الذي هدانا لدينه الذي ارتضاه وسبيله الذي اصطفاه ونصرنا لما يوجب الزلفة لديه والوصول إليه فأمرنا لأداء فرض الجمعات وما أوجب علينا فيها من الطاعات وقسمه لأهلها من العطاء في يوم الجزاء إنه هو العزيز الحكيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآله واجعله أيمن يوم أحدنا وأفضل صاحب سحبنا وخير وقت ظللنا فيه وجعلنا من أرض مر عليه الليل والنهار من جملة خلقك أشكرهم لما أوليت من نعمك وأقومهم بما شرعت من شرائعك وأوقفهم عما حذرت من نهيك على سائر خلقك في يوم هذا وساعة هذه ومستقر هذا. إني أشهد أنك أنت الله الذي لا إله إلا أنت قائم بالقسط عدل في الحكم رؤوف بالعباد وأن محمدا عبدك ورسولك وخيرتك من خلقك حملته رسالتك فأداها وأمرته لصلاة الجمعة لأمته فنصح لها. اللهم فصل على محمد وآله أكثر ما صليت على أحد من خلقك واجزه عنا أفضل وأكرم ما جزيت أحدا من أنبيائك عن أمته إنك أنت العزيز الحكيم. أما بعد السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله. أوصيكم بنفسي بتقوى الله. First of all, I admonish myself, then you all, on the taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is the key to success. Even in the last will of Amir al-Mu'mineen, commander of the faithful, he made a will to both of his sons, Usikuma, O my two sons, Hassan and Hussein, I make a will to both of you and to all of my sons, wa jami'a wuldi, wa shi'ati, and all of my followers, wa man balagha kalami, and to whomever reaches these words of mine, of a few things. Bitaqwallah, first of all, everyone should fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa nadhmi amrikum, to be organized. And then he emphasizes on a number of issues in his last will. In Arabic, when you want to emphasize on the importance of something, then sometimes you use the term Allah, Allah before it. And he says, Allah, Allah fikumul Quran. Beware of the importance of the Holy Quran amongst you. فَإِنَّهُ حَبْلٌ مَتِينٌ. It is a hanging rope between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is a connection between Ummah and Allah. Quran should be recited. It is not only a sacred book, it is a book of guidance. Hudal lin-nas. In the Holy Quran, Allah says it is hidayat for the people. Hudal lil-muttaqeen. It is hidayat for the pious. No matter who you may be, Quran is a guidance for you. Hudal lil-muttaqeen, hudal lin-nas, and for mu'mineen as well. So all three concepts have come in the Holy Quran, that it is a guidance for all mankind. But guidance only comes if you see the guidance in it. If you want the guidance from it. Let me give you an example. If you look at the mirror and you try and find the faults of the mirror, you will not find your own faults in the mirror. You look at the mirror, someone has touched it here, it has a crack. You're not looking at your own reflection in the mirror. You will not find any of your own faults. You are looking at the mirror's faults. If you keep looking at the Holy Quran and see what is in the Holy Quran, what is it talking about? Who is it talking about? You will not find anything for yourself. But if you say it is talking to me, Quran speaks to you when you are reading Quran. The Quran speaks to you. The Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam speak to you. It is extremely important to read the Quran and see what is it saying to me. Like many people sit down in a majlis and they think, the Maulana is speaking to someone behind me, someone else, not me. I am perfect. It is extremely important that we always reflect upon our own souls, our own selves. So the Quran is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for mankind to guide. Allah fikumul aitam, one of the other words in the will of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Do not ever forget the orphans. The people who always sideline the orphans, the society that sidelines the orphans is a society that is lost. That society will go down. That society will regret. When mazloom, when deprived, when people who are weak have no respect, have no dignity, have no rights, that society fails, that society destroys itself. So yateen should be given importance. Last night I said, just one sentence from my majlis. The ashab of Amir al-Mu'mineen, the companions of the commander of the faithful, they used to say, we used to pray, we wish we were orphans. Because the importance Amir al-Mu'mineen used to give to the importance he gave no one. The food he would feed them, he would not eat himself. Even the food he never ate himself, he gave to the orphans. There are many orphans in the world. After the Yemen war, after the Iraq war, after the Syrian war, in Afghanistan now, in many, many parts of the world, in many countries, even in your own continent, even in your own country, there are many orphans. Look after the orphans. It makes no difference if the orphans belong to a Muslim or a non-Muslim. All orphans must be looked after. All orphans must be looked after. Orphans doesn't make a difference. Why do you think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the Holy Prophet come as an orphan and as an example that if the orphan is looked after, he may reach the greatest position. Allah blesses them more. And if you look after them, then Allah blesses you more. You have more blessings. Now in the previous 2 years, I have been looking at the figures, the causes of death. And many of us are very much concerned about COVID, coronavirus. It hasn't even killed 5 million people. Everyone is looking for the medicine for COVID. What is the cure? What is the medicine? Let's get the jab. There are more people that die in a car accident than people have died from COVID. If you look at the world figures, more people die of car accident. More people die from cancer. More people die with heart disease. 9 million people died last year with heart disease. But the biggest cause of death in 2020 and also 2021 was something that we all had the cure for. The biggest cause of death in 2020, it killed 20 million people. COVID had only killed 3 million people. And in 2021, approximately 35 million people died of the same cause. And that was hunger. Bhook. And everyone has a cure for it. It's food. But so many people dying of hunger shows the hypocrisy of the international powers, that they would throw millions of tons of wheat into Pacific Ocean to control the prices of wheat. They would throw down cheese and butter into the Pacific Ocean so that the price of dairy products do not rise. And yet there will be people begging for food, for wheat, for milk in the world, in countries that you live in countries that we see. And there are many countries that are seeing a Shia genocide happening. But because they have black hair, black eyes, they don't matter. If you had blonde hair, blue eyes, white skin, then everyone will come to help you in Ukraine. But in Afghanistan, in Yemen, in Syria, no one will come and help you because you have black eyes and black hair. There is open racism in the world. People are depriving. And these are the people with the loudest voice speaking for human rights, talking for humanity, justice, love. And the same countries tell you that we care about humanity more than anyone. We care about democracy more than anyone. And they continuously create Frankensteins. They create Talibans and Daesh and so many other militia powers, use them and then let them free. Again this week we had two major incidents in Afghanistan. One in front of a girls' school, which was a Hazara community girls' school, all Shias. Because the girls had gone to school, Taliban justified killing the girls because education is not allowed for girls in Taliban or in Afghanistan. And yesterday in Mazar Sharif, there was another blast which killed more than 70 Shia Muslims. An open Shia genocide is happening in Afghanistan and in many other parts of the world. But people do not speak out. Amir al-Mu'mineen says that people who run away from death do not increase in their life because death has a fixed day. No matter how much you run away from it, it will come and still take you. And I want to say to the world, what do you want to do by killing us? You want to frighten us that we would leave Ali ibn Abi Talib? We promise, kill us as much as you like, we will not leave Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam. You look at those parents. Last month there was a blast in Peshawar. So many people became shaheed. There was one man, he lost his eyes in the blast. 2 weeks he was in the hospital. 3rd week he came back to the same place with his eyes covered. He said, you wanted to kill me, I did not die. But you think I will be frightened of dying? I am back in the name of Ali ibn Abi Talib in this masjid. The people who gave their lives were more lucky than I am. Yemen, who sold the weapons to Saudis to attack? The same powers remained quiet. Was it not America, Britain and France who sold 800 billion worth of weapons and said, yes, it is allowed to attack? And then they talk about human rights. Just before the month of Ramadan, there was a truce in Yemen for two months. We are seeing this international crisis, a political crisis, economical crisis, which is going to be even bigger. I promise you, I'm not exaggerating. There is a bigger financial crisis on the way. The things will become very expensive. There will be a shortage of food in the world. The West will not use chemical weapons or nuclear weapons anymore. They have so many biological weapons. They will use them and kill you. The Americans have an agenda of reducing the world's population by 70% because they believe the world cannot take 8 billion people. So they have to reduce the population. And the population has to be reduced through pandemics, through illnesses, through wars, biological weapons. And now with hunger, 20 million people died, 35, and this year they say this will be the highest number of deaths this year because of hunger. 30% of the world's wheat came from Russia and Ukraine, which is not coming. Last year in Australia, 400 million, get the figures in your head, 400 million animals died in fire. There'll be shortage of meat, there'll be shortage of wheat, oil, cooking oil, corn, and so many other things. So they will blame Russia, and then they themselves will stop your food. The rich countries will be able to buy the wheat, and the rest of the countries, because they do not have the buying power, will die of hunger. And even in the rich countries, it will be the rich people who will be able to afford it, and the poor people will die of it. One American economist last month or earlier this month, his analysis was that half of America will be wiped out because of the recession and the expenses that are coming in this year and next year. 40% of the Americans do not have $1,000 in their bank account. So you can imagine what we are running into. If they don't even care about their own people, do you think they'll care about you and me? Many of these politicians are ruthless. They don't care where you die, how you die, or if you get a funeral, if you get a burial. If the dogs and cats and animals on the street eat your dead body, or you get a burial. In olden days, Pharaohs and Namruds used to openly say, Ana Rabbukumul A'la, I am your God. Today the politicians don't say it, but they act like Pharaohs. They want to make sure you die if you don't support them without food. We see it all the time. Last thing I want to say, I have 2 weeks. I will speak my mind. I will speak very openly. I am sorry. I have already lost my visas for many countries, and I don't care if I lose visas for other countries. There are now countries that talk about controlling politicians. The method of bringing in the politicians into power is that only bring in corrupt people. If a genuine person ever comes in, remove them or kill them, because you cannot blackmail them. To control the politicians for your own agendas, they must be corrupt. You always blackmail them and say, I will release this information on you, otherwise you have to abide by the line we give you. Toe our agenda. Otherwise, you'll be removed. That's how the politicians are controlled. Even in Britain, many politicians from the 70s and 60s, their scandals came out when they died. And when they asked intelligence agencies, did you know this at the time they were the prime ministers? Yes. But because they were in line, obviously they will not disclose the information. They take out the information once the politician dies or is useless or no longer serves their agenda. So this will continue, and we will continue to see a lot of corruption, but we will also see a shift from the west to east. The shift of power from west to east, the economical power is shifting. I've said this in England, in my previous 2 khutbahs in Birmingham, and I will say this and then I will end my sermon. The world will not change after coronavirus. Things will accelerate. What was going to happen in 2030, 2040, 50, 60, in the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years will happen very quickly, rapidly. Things will only accelerate. China was going to become an economical power. It will still become an economical power. the world's reserve currency is a dollar, it will shift from the dollar to something else, either gold, digital currency, or the Chinese currency, or a new currency. But the Chinese will decide, not the Americans or Europeans. It is now 600 years, 77 years, the reserve currency is a dollar. Before that, 130 years, it was the British pound. The British ruled the world before that. Before that, it was the French for over 100 years. Before that, the Spanish. Before that, Netherlands. Before that, it was Portugal. For 600 years, Europe has ruled the world and the Americans. Now it is going to shift to China. Obviously, there will be problems. West will not take it easily. So there will be many proxy wars, economical problems, food crisis, and many, many other crises. We just pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He protects all the mu'mineen and Muslimeen and all the decent human beings of the world. And may Allah hasten in the reappearance of the 12th Imam alayhi salatu wasalam. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wal asr inna al-insana lafi khusr. Illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihat. Wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr. Sadaqallahu alayhi. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Allahumma lakal hamdu badi as-samawati wal ard. Dhal jalali wal ikrami Rabbal arbab wa ilaha kulli maluh wa khaliqa kulli makhluqin wa waritha kulli shay. Laysa kamithlihi shay wa huwa bi kulli shay'in muhit. Anta Allahu la ilaha illa anta al-ahad al-mutawahhid al-fard al-mutafarrid. وأنت الله لا إله إلا أنت الكريم المتكرم العظيم والصلاة والسلام على محمد النبي رحمة سيد المرسلين وعلي بن أبي طالب سيد الوسيين وفاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين والحسن المجتبى حجة الله على الخلق أجمعين والحسين الشهيد المظلوم وارث أمير المؤمنين وعلي بن الحسين زين العابدين ومحمد بن علي باقر علم الأولين والآخرين وجعفر بن محمد الصادق الصديق والمقتدى بآبائه الصالحين وموسى بن جعفر الكاظم من أولاد النبيين وعلي بن موسى الرضا من عترة بررة المتقين ومحمد بن علي الجواد ولي المؤمنين وعلي بن محمد السراج المنير إمام الخاشعين والحسن بن علي سيد الأوصياء المنتجبين والخلف القائم المهدي المنتظر الحجة بعد آبائه على خلقك المؤدي عن نبيك ووارث علم الماضيين من الوصيين الذي ببقائه بقيت الدنيا وبيمنه رزق الورى وبوجوده ثبتت الأرض والسماء وبه يملأ الله الأرض قسطا وعدلا كما ملء الظلم وجورا وعجل لنا اللهم ظهوره إنهم يرونه بعيدا ونراه قريبا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم افتح لنا أبواب توبتك ورحمتك ورزقك الواسع إنا إليك من الراغبين وأتمم لنا إنعامك إنك خير المنعمين اللهم اجعل بقية أعمالنا في أداء فرض الجمعات والحج والعمرة ابتغاء وجهك يا رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين والسلام عليه وعليهم परवरदिगार हम सब की आक़िबत बखैर फरमा साहिब ज़मान के ज़हूर में ताजील फरमा दुश्मनाने अहले बैत को निस्त नाबूद फरमा दाइश व तालिबान को, आल सऊद को गारत फरमा। यहाँ जितने मोमिन और मोमिनात मौजूद हैं सबकी हिफाजत फरमा। परवरदिगार हम सब की आक़िबत बखैर फरमा। माह मुबारक रमज़ान में हमारे तमाम आमाल इबादात अपनी बारगाह में कबूल मंजूर फरमा। हमें ज़िंदगी में बार बार मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद अलैहिस्सलाम की ज़ियारत नसीब फरमा। आखिरत में उनकी शफाअत नसीब फरमा। दुनिया में जहाँ जहाँ इस वक्त अज़ादारी हो रही है परवरदिगार रात की शब में आमाल होंगे, सबकी हिफाजत फरमा। रब्बना तक़ब्बल मिन्ना इन्नका अंतस समीउल अलीम बिहक़्क़ि मुहम्मद व आलिहि तय्यबीन अत्ताहिरीन अल-मासूमीन।